Okay, guys, this is Amanda Elo, and I urge you to subscribe, to like, to comment on Creative Converse on YouTube or anywhere in the world. I'm sorry, any platform in the world. Just go ahead and follow us, like us, comment.
Instagram, Facebook,
Anywhere.
TikTok, we are
Creative
here.
Converse.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your favorite podcaster again today, JC Miracle, and today I have in the building a filmmaker, a producer, scriptwriter, actor, podcaster of My Life Continues Every Day.
That's right.
And spoken word artists and a blend of other flavors of life. So today it's a pleasure to have you, Miss Amanda Elo.
Thank you so much for having me, JC. It's good to be here.
Okay, it's going to be first a hectic one because just like everybody this today is saying today, is the first single lady I'm posting on this podcast.
Why would they say that? Look at my life outside.
So, single lady with all this profile, it must be a very long journey from your starting point to where you are. So, I wouldn't want to do much of the talking today. I just wanted to tell us, how did it start?
That's a very broad question, as a matter of fact, but I'm happy to say something. I think I have always loved to be on the microphone and behind the camera, or in front of the camera, I beg your pardon. It's always been a thing. I'm a very expressive person. You may have noticed. Expressive person. I want people to hear me. I want them to see me and all of that. And so it propelled some of the things I began doing. When I was in the university, I told myself, I'm going into the media. I studied English language and literature, but I had wanted mass communication. For some reason, I didn't get it. But I told myself, whatever happens, I'm going to venture into the media. I wasn't so sure about filmmaking. I did act behind the scene in my house. But it was those days when people frowned at actors. There was a time when if you said, I want to act, people look at you. That's the word, useless. And I wasn't so brave. In fact, saying I wanted to go into mass communication was a problem already. And for some reasons, like I said earlier, I didn't get mass communication. It was English language and literature I had to apply for. And it turned out better. Not necessarily Nigeria. In fact, the funny thing is I do not know mathematics. And Unizik at the time, even now, Unizik has mass communication under social science. So you must take mathematics in your post-UTME. I wasn't prepared for it. And so I think it was that mathematics that happened to me. But in UNN, when I went to UNN, it wasn't there. It was under arts, and I did well. I don't know why I didn't get it. It wasn't written in the stars for me. And I think it's because of who I am today, or who God knew I was going to be today. I was meant to venture into multidisciplines in the arts. Because if I had done mass comm, perhaps it would just be in a broadcasting house and just but with English and literature, I was able to interact with other forms of art, and that's why I'm here today. So I began, going to the studio in school, Unizik FM, started there, moved on to Syria, done everything, and then eventually I was brave enough in 2020. I said, I had done my my spoken word poetry performance in Kano. I served in Kano. I did it. We shot the video, and I told myself, I think it's time for you to do a film. So I did my first short film in 2020. After the running around, it came out in 2021, and then I told myself, okay, it's time to venture in other parts of this thing, entertainment, media, go riding, and that's it. I don't think I can tell the full story here, so people don't get bored, but that's it.
Okay. Well, I would want to believe that this is a summary of high or half on.
Yeah, it is.
But then I want to know, okay, maybe people will want to know because it's over time we tend to believe that females have their way around the industry more than the men, and then that perspective might be the reason why some persons are restrained from coming in here. So the boy child, I had to fight my way through the industry process, serve Oga, get family banters, you're a useless boy until you start earning money, you become useful. In fact, I learned this notion in the industry, creative industry, about once you're born a male child, you're in trouble.
That's sad.
So, but the women have it easy going. So, was it really easy going for you?
It's funny you're saying this because I thought it was the other way around, that we women have it tougher in many industries, including the film industry. But that's true. There are two sides to every coin. You want to argue?
AY recently said something online that has
Yeah.
been making strong. He said, waiting man, do man. And then it's a lot of Nigerians took it that it is because AY is a man, that's why he's not beating Funka Kindele in the publicity stunts. Between everybody loves Jennifer and the waiter. So women tend to have it easy way, tend to make their way through in the industry. And you are here from your story. How has it been?
I do not think, let me correct that notion, that women have it easy in the industry. I only think that for a woman to be seen as competent in the world, in any branch, in any sphere, including politics, teaching, even medicine, a woman has to work twice harder than her male counterpart before she's noticed. I don't think you would have called me here if you don't know the kind of things I do. Maybe if I didn't have that list, attached to my profile, you probably would not want me here. But a man, you could just pick any man who has just done one film, who has just done, I'm just saying I could be wrong, and you just say, oh my guy, just come to the show. But you have to call Amanda Elo because I think you called Amanda Elo because you've heard Amanda Elo here, you've heard Amanda Elo here and here and here. Oh, she's done a lot. So let's call Amanda Elo and let's talk to her. So women actually have to work twice harder, or twice as hard, beg your pardon, as their male counterpart to be noticed. So when you see a woman in the game, it means she is doing twice what that man cannot do.
But then,
unless you mean something else, and I want to hear you say.
You want me to?
Yes,
say
we have to be clear.
Women have more negotiating power when it comes to this industry than the men.
Well, I think it's just a natural thing. The woman, that it's a thing. Women just know. We know how to not play on our emotions. We respect emotions, and so we know the game. We understand that the human being cannot be completely, a logical being all the way. From time to time, you have to press certain buttons. That's why we are women. Sorry if I'm sounding a little bit, if this is stereotypical, but that's the truth. We are women, and this is what we do. Some people say we are manipulative. Unfortunately.
I will agree with that one.
Unfortunately, anybody has the opportunity to be that. We just know how to play the card, especially the ones who are wise. We know a little bit of this, a little bit of that, puts things together. And I think that's how every wise thinking human should be. You can't be completely an A. It is either, there's no either, there's no room for either. You should be A, you should be B, there should be a balance. That's why it seems like we have a more negotiating power than our male counterparts. And guess what? I repeat it again. I could be wrong, but I have seen it. Men have their way in a lot of things. Because the notion, which is also a bad one, the notion is that the man provides, the man should bring, the man should, Therefore, any platform that requires money making, a man is given a chance. Because ordinarily, we have to help a man, now our fellow man, in a provider. So we have to do something for him. No, hold on, let me finish. Sorry, just hold your thought. We have to help this man. But a woman who comes to look for that same opportunity, they say, she definitely has a man somewhere sponsoring her. So, give or take, even if she doesn't get this one, why somebody? And so, you people have it easy all the time. So you don't, some of you would not brush, what's the word for it? You don't make efforts. You don't make effort to be more competent. Because like I said, ordinarily, you have a level playing ground. Once you come in, they say, I'm okay, man, he needs job. Okay, if he doesn't have this job, they will frown. Just give it to him. A woman who comes in there has to prepare to get in there. And so when she comes in, why not? She has to use a lot of weapons, including a negotiated power.
Okay, now this is bringing
using our disadvantage to our advantage.
Well, this is bringing me closer to where we are dragging this.
I see.
Acknowledging the struggling women in this industry, the creative industry per se, it is believed, it is a trending perception that women get away with a lot of things in this industry and break it even more than the male counterpart because of their bodily weapon. And then, how has it been a challenge to you over time? Because I know, yes, we men.
You people who are men. Or you mean women?
Okay, that's depending on how you want to understand it. Women find it easier to negotiate with our fellow men, but women find it smooth to negotiate with men. I'll tell you a scenario.
Okay.
If I present a proposal for a commissioned job and the woman is my counterpart, the tendency that she will get that proposal has pre-approved with whatever weapon speculated that she wants to use is 70/30.
Where did you get the statistics, JC? Because I would love to see this. I'm not exactly sure what weapon you're saying until you call it. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but let's talk about this. Based on my research, you may go check it out. Women are not considered for funding when it comes to high class movies. When I say high class, I'm talking of stories that have an undertone of extra seriousness. If I wrote a film about the Biafran War and I would present a proposal to a sponsor, and I go with you, JC, and you have the same proposal, they would look at you first. So, based on my research, women who are sponsored, or you think who their proposal are being looked at, it probably is on a romantic level, soft stories. We are not even allowed to tell a lot of stories. Stories that you consider story. And no story should be belittled, but high playing or high resounding stories are not allowed for female producers or directors, especially when sponsorship is involved. I mentioned the Biafran War. Let me look for something else. If, for instance, we decide to do sci-fi movies in Nigeria, I don't think we have any yet, but say we decide for the first time to go. JC, if I go with you to a sponsor, you are going as your own director or filmmaker, and I'm going with the same proposal. I acknowledge that there are persons who still appreciate competence, but I know that it is easier. In fact, based on research, let's not say I know, based on research, they will choose you for a sci-fi movie. Your story.
In the game of mathematics.
No, the truth is, and that's the problem, because some of you subjugate, anything that comes from a woman to be, it must be, like you call it, the bottom par. A man who wants to give you, who wants to sponsor your proposal, who believes in bottom par, will not sponsor me to do a sci-fi film. Because for a man to even want to have anything to do with you in the bed, he doesn't respect you as a woman. So you cannot bring high-playing movies.
Unfortunately, there is a lot approved.
No, there are none. You could check. But you know why I'm happy? I'm glad that women are changing the stories for themselves. I am also not going to make it, I don't want to make it a gender war, because I know that there are good people. There are good sponsors. I've worked with you on set. You've given me equal opportunity with my male counterpart. So let's be fair. While we want to, trend stories on inequalities, which is true, by the way, we should still be fair. There are good people who exist, who tell themselves, oh, Amanda has a good story and I'm going to give her a chance. JC has a good story and I'm going to give you a chance. But the truth is, if we want to ever play the game of inequality, especially gender inequality, women are not having it, especially in this industry. The place where you might think that we have some sort of winning power is when it comes to, selling the film. And therefore, that is what we call, objectifying women sexually, which is one of the things we have as a problem. She's a fine girl. She has the features. When I say features, I'm sure the person seeing this understands what I'm saying. As a woman, I've got features that are much more pronounced than JC. So it will attract you to the film more. And that's unfair. That it is my features, physical features, that should attract a person. And that's like the only thing the woman does in a film. That you see this thing we're talking about. Women, when they enter a place, they play this. It is when it has something to do with looks. And truth be told, how many things on earth does looks fix? And movies is a thing of depth, as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people joke about it, but I don't know. Movie is a thing of it's such a deep thing that looks alone cannot help, and that's why we're having silly productions we call average productions, because people who are supposed to sponsor the right people for competence, whether male or female, are looking at the fine people. It's not just for the female. We have even you and someone who's ugly. You're a fine man. Let's you're a fine man. If you go with a person who is considered not fine in whatever parameters that we judge beauty by, they would give it to you first before they give it to the other guy, because they want your face to sell, and we keep producing average. So it's a thing of I don't think it's gender, because our features are pronounced.
Okay,
but,
looks here is just like a signboard,
as far as I'm concerned, that's it. Because even a person who wants to sleep with you doesn't want to sleep with just anybody,
including BBL.
including
BBL.
Oh, okay. Yes. I mean, they do these things because the girl's got to do something.
If he wasn't
that doesn't
winning,
make it right.
if he wasn't winning the battle, I don't think a lot would be going for it.
Just like I said, people don't even give us the opportunity. I have to work twice as hard as you to be heard. Therefore, I have to do something that will attract you.
Even if it means...
Unfortunately, I have self-confidence. And this is no offense to anybody. I'm not trying to throw shades at anybody. But the truth is, I have self-confidence. And I tell myself that if what I bring to the table decently is not enough, then whoever it is can go to wherever they're coming from.
Anybody who has gone into the show business and felt like their looks are not enough, that they needed to upgrade in order to sell their film,
that's why I said
does not have self-confidence.
No, I'm sorry about that. But the truth is,
no, you don't need to apologize.
No, I have to
say
I have to. No, I have to, because these are human beings and they've got emotions. It's about self-confidence.
Okay.
Because this person has not been given an opportunity. Not all of them, though. Some people just go right in and they're just there. But there are people who actually want to be heard and nobody hears them. And they become desperate. And they are looking for the fastest thing. You know, it's the same thing with you right now, right? We want to sell this podcast or any podcast in the world. And we go on with controversial issues because guess what? I have a podcast and it's been there since 2021, and how many people know about it because it's not controversial? So you have to do something to bring you up, to par with your peers. And for some women, it translates to doing certain changes to their bodies. I in no way support that, but I say these people do these things maybe, just maybe, because they want to be noticed. Isn't that why we're all here?
And that
to
is
belong
part
somewhere?
of that is part of what you just said. You have to do twice the normal.
Exactly, and this is one of theirs. I'm not saying it's correct in this case. So by the way, it's not correct. But this is it. They're not giving enough chances.
Whiskey broke even. We have too many of them on the streets now. So we have young guys everywhere trying to be women, and that's because they are trying to do twice to be noticed.
Oh no, I actually think that it goes back. Yeah. There's an atom of truth there. You're correct, because it's still the same thing. Trying to get people to notice you. Like I mentioned, even you as a man, if you step out with a person who is considered ugly, they will choose you first before that other person. Therefore, you will do anything that would make you look finer, fresher. Better than the other person in order to sell. So when a man is trying to look like a woman, I don't think they're doing it because it makes it easier. I think it's
my concern in all of this is, how long are we going to accept that this is a medium of becoming relevant while we are killing the industry? Because for you as a lady, are there roles you cannot take?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that question, because that's why I'm here, and I'm sure a lot of other women. I already mentioned, we've got a lot of people. There's Kemi Adetiba. We've got Jade Oshiberu, a lot of these women, Funke Akindele, and these people are making it big. I do not know what happens behind the scene, but I'm sure that these people, they have good stories. You and any other person who has seen good movies, King of Boys, for starters, a lot of other Gangs of Lagos. These movies are movies that I don't think anybody needs a bottom par to convince anybody to buy these movies. These movies were intelligent, they were brilliant. Therefore, I think that's why platforms like this should exist. Let us tell people that you do not need to be extra in an uncomfortable way or to your own detriment or out of what is proper for you to make your point. Do what you can do and let it go. A lot of us are not content, and like I said, I don't want to judge anybody. I don't blame anybody. A lot of people want to be stars overnight, and so they want to go the easy way. They want to do it faster. And so if the director is asking for their buddy, per se, wants to sleep with them, they have to do it just to get, to ascend. And I'm here to say today that, honestly, self-confidence, if you have it and you know that there is a place you're going to, thank God the world is digital and you can do a lot of things at the comfort of your room. You may not get the audience you're looking for as much as you want it now, but if you stay on the lane, you will eventually sell. That's why I mentioned the people I mentioned before. Your body can only get you so far. Your body can only get you so far. Your looks can only get you so far. Whatever it is you do, can only get you so far. What you have inside, that's why I mentioned film is a thing of depth. If you don't have it, you do not have it. Except you want to get people to do it for you. If you don't have it, you don't have it. And that's another thing again, JC. I think a lot of us kill ourselves being in one sphere. If you're an actor and it's not working for you as a woman, why don't you write stories? Is it because you want to be seen? Why don't we write?
I think the first thing you should consider about is actually the inspiration before why I want to act. Because we've had a lot of actresses come online to come and explain themselves unnecessarily because of speculations. So there are things that they just happen, and we know that this one is clearly a bottom power thing. There are a couple of them.
I'm not arguing that some people do that. Yeah.
And then you now come back to argue. So this brings to the question: what inspired you to come into this industry? Because this is where priorities are set. And then after that, maybe you can highlight some of those roles you think you cannot take.
Okay, let me go back to this. What inspired me? It's going to sound very funny. Film. I'm an only child. Am I supposed to say this on set? I'm an only child, and sometimes I was always alone then at home. No, my parents were working. It's not like they left me to suffer or something. No. And they come back but when I was alone at home, I tried to keep myself busy, and I would engage in so many monologues. And so I told myself, I'm not going to let this thing go to waste. I'm going to eventually put it to good use. That was my inspiration. In short, I grew up wanting to express myself, like I mentioned. So acting has always been there. How did I get into filmmaking proper? Just like you said, I realized that there are stories to be told, and there's so much bias and unequal opportunities. In this case, not even gender. I'm talking of even regional. We in the Southeast cannot compete with a certain region in Nigeria. Not anybody's fault. It's just the way it is. Maybe people in the Southeast do not appreciate entertainment. And I told myself, look, a lot of stories are being told from this point, from this side. How about I tell my own story? It inspired me to get into film. And then I asked myself, if you wake up today and you go out to look for big directors for auditions, you may just not get it. How about you begin to do something little? Save money. You see the money you use in buying those big things or whatever. It's not like I have money though. Save your money. On a very good day, I'm going to talk about the financial aspect. It's a very sad thing, but save money, Amanda, and make your film. If you can't make your film, find people. That's why I love collaboration. That's what happened. My first film, I had an executive producer. I explained myself. After shooting the film, it didn't come out well. I spoke to somebody. I met him. He understood me. He paid for certain things. And then I wrote the script. And it was a 2-person, it was a 3-person film, 3-role film. I started from somewhere, because I knew I had to tell my story, and I knew that if I went for auditions, I might get to 90 without even being noticed. And you see, I'm not so far, like you said. So in cases where they would look at looks, they may not look at me. And before they allow me to bring what I have to the table, it might be too late. So I said, okay, you know what? Write your stories, film your stories, do your story, let it out there. People will see you. That's how you saw me, JC. That's how a couple of other people saw me. And I began featuring in other films. So I told myself it's time to tell the story from your own point of view, and it's also time for you to tell people that, or break the barrier in this industry, especially for the women and for people who don't have money, because I'm an independent filmmaker. You cannot be waiting forever. Step out there, do what you can do, bring it out. It is when you show yourself there that you might get, potential investors or sponsors. And that was it. That's what inspired me. I just wanted to tell stories. Until today, I'm telling stories in different genres. And that's hope I answered the question.
Nice. Inspiration.
Inspiration.
That's from an end.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you at a point consider the fact that this is a business venture?
Yes.
What was it like?
I do. I think I'm very terrible at it. I'm sorry to say, but I'm a terrible business person. And that's why I think the two films I've made, I can't say they're not successful, but I think that I've seen films that a lot were not put into as much as I did, and they are everywhere. I realized that promotion, just Funke Akindele, for instance, if you complain that her movie is not up to par with certain people, check the way she's good with promoting her content. Another person I know who does that in this part of the world is Bennett Wampo. I don't know if anybody knows Bennett. Bennett is a promoter. He promotes anything. If he wants to promote it, and I don't have it. And I think filmmakers need to understand, including me, that it's not enough to just want to do this thing for passion and for creativity. There has to be an outlet for selling this thing, and that's one place that I'm really terrible at. And I would love to collaborate with people who are as business-like as Funke Akindele. This is me making a passionate plea because I'm terrible at business.
All right, now, don't you think there are other people who came into the industry and were in your shoes, and for some reason, in order to meet up, their inspiration got altered? Because you can be doing the same thing over and over again, and you're not making results back.
True.
And the only thing they needed to do, or maybe half of what they needed to do, or even 1/4 of what they needed to do, was going rogue, like against their discipline and self-control. And that was why they are where they are. Unfortunately, it backfired. For example, Miss Chidima one time in Anambra State.
I remember.
So what will you say about young girls who come into the industry with their virginity, mindset, good home training, discipline, self-control, but along the line, fame and money got in the way and they had choices to make? Would you advise that they had stayed back and not take the opportunities? Because this is the reality and the saddest of them in the industry today.
I think that's why they don't let children decide for themselves in entertainment. If it was a child who was coming to act, you can ask the parents to decide for them what to do. But I believe that a person who takes any decision is an adult. And so it's not, I do not have the moral jurisdiction to tell people what to do with their lives. I'm not going to stand here and tell them, you should have said no, you should have said yes. I think we all know the right thing to do. But here's what I'm going to say anyways, to avoid sounding like some moral judge. I think that it is always important. I'm also glad, you asked the question, what inspired me? There are still things inspiring me today. I want to make impacts positively in the entertainment industry. Hopefully I get to, get into Christian filmmaking properly, because that's where I'm moving towards. I want to change the world with my art. I don't know what your inspiration is or your motivation. You would always ask yourself the question, why am I doing this? Why am I here? Because sometimes I think we forget. If you remember why you are in a thing, it will help drive you. If you've come for the money and you think what you're doing is the best, But if you're there because you know what you represent, what you have, what you're likely to gain over time, then you shouldn't be desperate. I think the problem is desperation, JC.
Okay.
A lot of us just want to be, this and that and this and that at the same time. People also think that it is wrong. Jason, I need to mention this. It could be off the point, but I need to say it. People also think that you must be in just one profession. I think that's why our politicians are acting up in Nigeria. You don't have to earn only from one profession. If you love filmmaking, you want to act, you can be teaching in a secondary school to make money, if money is your problem. Because someone would say, why will I get money to feed my family? Find another profession. I don't do acting only. I do other things. And that's why tomorrow when somebody says, do this, I can say, because I have where to eat food from. Do you understand? So you have to normalize it. I know we all don't have equal opportunities, but I still believe that if you want to do it, you will do it. You need to first of all ask yourself the question, why am I doing this? Why am I acting? What am I doing in this industry? And then remind yourself, film is not the only thing. No. I can be acting and I can be doing something there. It will help you so that you will at least have a certain edge. I mentioned it before, this is an age. It's not 2009 when it was only the director on set who had authority or permission to touch the camera. Now you can get your phone and sit in the comfort of your home and do little dialogues, monologues. Post it out there. You could get somebody who is willing to invest in you. It's not always easy, but it happens, right? I'm just saying, if a person wants to do something bad, they can see 1 million reasons why they should. If you want to do good, you can see reasons. But I also know that there are tough places, and I'm not judging nobody because I know maybe I'm not there because I was lucky enough not to be faced with certain things as much as them. But I believe every single human being who is an adult has a choice. You know what you stand for, you know what you believe in, and you cannot just stick to one thing only. You can do other things. That way you would have enough, you have options on the table. I'm saying this especially for people who are rising. Act your film. Find another profession by the side that lets you, that they coexist in, and try to be content. That's the truth.
The question now is, how many young people out there really wants to make film for impact? Let's be honest. Everybody sees this industry as a business venture. And the only thing that comes to their mind is, in fact, I called an upcomer. Sorry to use that word, I hate calling people that. But then I called somebody who I know is just coming up in the industry. And I said, we are doing a short film and I want you to volunteer on the set. So that you can start learning 1 or 2 skills in the industry. I know a lot of people who have stayed with me, and anybody around me knows, I will tell you, don't rely on acting, go and learn a film skill. A film skill pays you while you're building your career. Anytime you come up to the screen, you become a face. Already you have a fee, you have a what. And then the young man said, I would prefer that you give me that 10,000 naira and I'll do your PA and I'll go home. And then here we are fighting for people, Southeast Film, Crew Welfare, Crew Life Matter, and I'm telling this young man, somebody will pay you this money and use you beyond your elastic limits.
Yes.
And you can't complain because you had an agreed fee. And then, I don't think it's desperation. I think it is the need at hand. Some of these people are breadwinners at home. And then you think he's just going to go out there every day and come back in fact, those days, the days I come back to the house, my mom will be like, oh, and key and chop. And I'm like, I don't plug money anywhere because I'm coming from a very stressful set that probably Jimmy Boko did not pay me.
Wow, we called his name.
And then, and I'm just coming back with that. He shouted on me and said, towards those era where directors are just aggressive and abusive. They might not sexually abuse you, but then the words that come out of their mouth, they really snails. So you're coming back from that level of depression, and then somebody is demanding financial benefit. So it made everybody's mind go on, let's get the bag. So I don't blame any young person who is kind of after the money. I don't want to call it desperation, because there are responsibilities waiting.
I do not have issues with money being the motivation. It's such a beautiful motivation as far as I'm concerned. Just like I mentioned and just as you've said, there are other things you can do. Do you understand? And you can do it. Let's not say if the first salary you get from something, maybe your first film gig or anything, use it, and if it is phone pouch, sell, if that's what you think you can do. I'm not a business person. God help me. I teach. I actually do teach now. Find something else and they can coexist until you can now make a whole living from acting. I think these things, why we have such platforms, are to teach people, because we can't continue to, because when we keep telling them this is it, people are lackadaisical, people continue being mediocre. I beg your pardon, but yes, JC, you didn't have it easy. Today you're not just an actor, you're not just you're okay. This is a podcast. You're doing something. We can't be. We keep, let's pamper ourselves. It's hard already in the country, and we cannot be thinking in a certain. We have to be moving, and we should go past this level. That's another thing I want to talk about. Collaborations. It's a problem here. I've noticed, just like you said, volunteering is a problem. You ask a person to volunteer. I started working in the radio as a volunteer. That's so many people you see today who are diplomats, people who moved from Unizik now in the US. I have many of them. I don't want to call their names, they probably don't. Right now they are ambassadors representing Nigeria here and there. Globally, they volunteered at Unizik FM. I volunteered at Unizik FM and someone called me to City Radio. I volunteered up to a point before I began being paid. And then like that, people don't want to volunteer anymore. That's just like you said, because they are breadwinners. Therefore, you have to merge it with something. But you have to volunteer. How would we know who you are?
You just have to volunteer.
You do.
I remember the first year I joined Coast TV Festival. Mm-hmm. It was to a friend, Bob. Mm-hmm. Bob called me and said, "There's a festival happening in the East. You should be part of it." I told Soplo say, "I'm already in the place. Let me add you to the group." I know I came as a volunteer. I wasn't really doing much. Mm-hmm. But by the second year, I started picking interest from the conversations in there. It really shaped
who you are now.
Where I started carving my niche in the industry. I told myself, I am not going to end up an actor. Mm-hmm. I am going into production. Because in that particular festival, I learned the different scopes of producing. Mm-hmm. And I started carving a niche. Today, I am the director of program for that same festival. Mm-hmm. And I am still a volunteer. That is actually the big part of it. Uh-huh. So I think people down here has neglected
collaboration
the effect
and volunteering.
Collaboration and volunteering.
True.
And if we start hampering on these things earlier, the truth is, if I want to do a movie and I went to an individual person and say, give me 10 million naira, and he looks at me, probably I didn't come in the range.
Sadly,
he will not consider me. But if I'm going and I'm picking like 4-5 persons, and out of 5 of us, 3 came in their cars, and then we walk into this person's office, this is not even about what they are bringing to the table. Just because we are like that, and then we speak in one voice, the person will listen to us. It happened recently in Aroma, the owner of Oasis restaurant. I went with him with Dennis, some other persons who came to. That's somewhere he charges over 700k to shoot. But he said, bring what you have, let's see. And then it has worked over time with Jimmy and Bennett. I know how we got Hemano Wole say it everywhere. Some hotels, it's just that contact I don't have.
Someone
this
else.
better person will have.
Exactly.
But then I want to bring you back a little bit.
Okay.
To your personal discipline and your inspiration about making impact. What kind of roles do you think you can never consider?
I think any role that is that's the thing. If a movie is being acted, I would want to know, the reason behind it. I know it might sound like I'm overdoing it, but it is who I am. Why are we shooting this film? If I have to kiss in a film, I want to make sure that the person watching it is being taught something. It's very didactic. You are understanding something. We're acting a movie, and this is a couple or whatever. I would do it if it is making a very positive impact. The whole body of the work is making impact. I'm not there for the cruise. I'm not there to be the face of anything to show. No. And I hope to keep by this. At the moment, I'm not sure I can. The kiss part is tough, but that's not professional for an actor, right? You should be able to give your all in a movie, especially when it is expected. However, I would love to know what the whole body of art, that production, what is it trying to prove?
You think the slacks we are having now is because virtually everybody is just about the fee and not about this reason you're coming with?
I think it's a problem.
Because I think some persons, I'll be sincere, I think some persons satisfy themselves
on set.
To be sincere,
That's true.
It's so bad.
It's
if I
easier and
want to
cheaper
call
for
him, I
them.
will. But
No,
then
please, let's
leave this thing for another time. So lastly,
yes, a lot of people do that. Oh, I just
Yeah.
want to quickly add something.
Yeah.
I also think that funding is a thing in the industry. We're not being funded. A lot of independent filmmakers, right? I heard there's a film village now in Anambra. I don't know how much is involved. I don't know what is involved. A filmmaker comes to a school to want to act. The first thing they ask is, we know you make films. How much will you pay? You know, we don't get funding. People don't pay attention, but people want to see movies and criticize in Nigeria, which is not a problem. But nobody's willing to fund it.
Okay.
And we have wealthy people.
Well, for the few village in Anambra,
Mm.
okay, this is a free advert for them. I think you can walk in and shoot.
Oh,
It is
really?
not so much, yeah.
Okay, look at that. I should consider
because
that.
The woman,
Uh-huh.
as Mrs. Chinyere,
Mm.
is doing so well to put the place in place and make the creative society here come together
That's good.
and have one voice. So I think she's doing well individually.
Mm.
But then what all of us keep clamoring every time
Mhm.
is the place where government has to.
And a lot of other well-meaning individuals. I'm not even just interested in, we have so many wealthy people in this country, in this state,
Yeah.
Anambra. We have so many people, but they want to invest in what they think gives them a return on investment now. And the film business is like this. I don't think.
Well, that is because
Oh yeah.
maybe,
Uh-huh.
like you already said,
I'm not a
you're not
business
a business person.
Oh, possibly.
Because for two, I've done films down here and up the west.
You've made a lot
I
of money.
could tell you that film is actually a
Lucrative business. Then people should invest in us.
The point is, we said it here, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, that producers down here don't even know what to market.
Okay.
Some people come here to tell their story with no business behind it.
Okay.
So you can't come to me as an investor, you're
And
telling me
stories.
and tell me stories that no make me money. There must be money part of it. When we did Class of Secret 2, Tiger Foods came in.
That's true.
Till date, Tiger Foods is still sponsoring events. They sponsored
That's true.
Jerry's show. I was there in Enugu. I've seen them do a couple of other things. They have 3 coming up in January. And there are a lot of effort. So there are things that needs to be put into consideration when going to an investor to say, give me money. You must look at what are we making back. You can't come and do film just because you want to tell your grandmother's story.
I think this is where collaboration should come in. Since just if people like me who just want to tell our grandmother's story, we could be with JC who knows the business side of it, and they go with us but I want to believe that it is just this that is the problem. Because as far as I'm concerned, a lot of people are not investing.
A lot is actually a problem. Insurance is part of it. Somebody who is giving you money should be insured. There are a lot. There are both health, money, equipment. There are a lot involved in film. And to do a high proficient movie, because I was in one place and somebody said there are 2 kinds of film, high budget movie and low budget movie. I felt hot. Because that does not exist anywhere. How much you put into a film does not qualify the movie. Every movie has where they belong.
True.
So you must make out where to push your money into. For example, as far as I'm concerned, Merry Men has no moral story for me.
A lot of people say that.
I'm not blinking. I'm saying it. Merry Men has no moral lesson for me as a young Nigerian growing up. You want to tell me I have to be a criminal to fight criminal and get paid and do dirty jobs? It doesn't work here. These same people will lynch you and kill you. It is not a reality for an average young man in Nigeria. But then, it has a marketing value. That is why somebody like Valentine Osibo will sponsor it. So, whatever story you want to tell, please put in profit and gross profits for it. So, lastly, before I let you go, what's going to be your word for people like you who are coming in and with the exposure you're getting, what do they expect?
Start from where you are. I'm glad there is TikTok. We have Instagram now. Start from where you are. Be very consistent. Do not forget the motivation for which you started, whatever it is, with or for. It helps. Over time, you remind yourself, I'm sleeping off, let me come back. And sometimes we lose some, sometimes we win some, and that's life. Collaborate. As far as the entertainment, in short, the world is concerned, I think that's why rich people are rich. Collaboration. You have to collaborate, and you also have to invest in yourself. You see, today I didn't want to argue with JC because for some people, no, I want to argue with my host. Da, 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 da. I'm learning from JC today about the business aspect and certain things I didn't know. Honestly, I was like, oh my God, I'm the filmmaker, I'm the one. You need to learn. You need to invest in yourself. That's the only way you'd get better. So do all of these things and then never forget God. I say that all the time. Never forget God.
Never forget God.
Never forget God. The big G. And that's it. And work with people like JC. Very important. And Brave and Kelvin.
Thank you so much for
Thank you, JC.
the time and honor of being here. It's a pleasure having you in the studio today.
Amazing being here.
So, and if you have any topic you want us to hammer, just drop it in the comment section or send us a mail for every angle. If you have challenges in the industry, you want a voice, probably you don't want to be seen, but you want to voice it out, DM us. Just send a mail to creativeconverse@gmail.com and we will respond to you. ASAP, we are here to give a voice and to teach. Thank you and see you next week.